Okay, I hope you have your graph paper out, and we don't need these tables because I don't like those tables. That's too much writing. We're going to do a table with the t-chart like I showed you before. So the first equation is y equals 2x minus 4. And I don't think we've done enough negative slopes, so I'm going to change this. We're going to have the first equation, y equals negative 2x minus 4. Y equals negative 2x minus 4. We're going to graph this. If we're going to graph it, we need a table. 0, 1, 2, and just because I normally don't put it, let's go ahead and put a negative 1 just to show you that you can. So we're going to plug into this equation. We're going to do negative 2 times 0 minus 4 to get negative 4. We can go ahead and put that dot. Negative 2 times 1 minus 4. Negative 2 times 1 makes a negative 2, minus 4, negative 6. So we have 1, negative 6, which is already off my graph. So I am not going to do this one, and we're going to do negative 1 and negative 2. Because from the graph that I was given, 2 would give an answer that's too far off of the graph. We're going to go with some negative numbers because those will fill in these blanks. Negative 2 times negative 1 minus 4. Two negatives make a positive, so that's going to be positive 2. A positive 2 minus 4 makes a negative 2. And then I'm going to have to erase some things, because we're going to have a point at negative 1, negative 2. So I even have to erase that answer. Negative 1, negative 2. If I put negative 2 in here, negative 2 times negative 2 minus 4. Two negatives make a positive, so 2 times 2 makes 4. And then 4 minus 4 makes 0. Equals 0. So we have negative 2, 0. Now I have to erase my work, but hopefully you gave yourself enough space that you don't have to erase anything. And then we're going to connect these dots with a line. There's our line that has a slope of negative 2 and the y-intercept of 0, negative 4. The y-intercept always happens at 0 for x, and then you just see where it crosses, and it crosses at negative 4. So 0, negative 4 is the coordinate for the y-intercept. Please label that. The slope is negative 2. The x-intercept is where it touches the x-axis. So for the x-intercept, we are at negative 2. And how high up is that dot? It isn't. It's at 0 for y. So we're going to put negative 2 comma 0. And now we've labeled everything that's important, and we didn't leave anything out. You can do this one with me, or you can try it on your own. If you try it on your own, just skip forward about a minute or so, and then the answer will be up by then. Negative 1/2, that means we're going to have a gentle slope. And then negative 2 means we can already fill in the y-intercept. Negative 2 means our y-intercept will be at 0 for x, negative 2 for y. So we already know that 0, negative 2 is a point on our graph. 0, negative 2. Let's do negative 1. Negative 1/2 times negative 1 minus 2. Two negatives make a positive, and then what is half of 1? Half of 1 is going to be a half. So we have a positive 1/2 minus 2. This one is a positive, this one's a negative. So really, they're going to cancel each other out partially. This positive 1/2 is going to make this one a little bit closer to 0, but only half of a number closer. So 0.5 closer to 0 from negative 2 is, if we plug in negative 1 we should be half a space closer to 0. And you can see that the scales for both of these graphs are going to be counting by ones, so you should also be graphing these on your notes as a scale of 1. Let's plug in -2. -1/2 times -2 minus 2. What is half of 2? Half of 2 is 1. And you can see this if you wrote the fraction larger than I did. 2 negatives make a positive, and then a 2 on top times a 2 on the bottom is going to leave you with just the number 1. So we have a +1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 will make -1. All right, so we have our 3 points. Let's connect them with a line. And this is why it's super important that you make your line straight and you make your graph with an even scale. Because the slope is -1/2, but the y-intercept happens whenever x is 0. Did I plug in any number that ever made y 0? Because the x-intercept, the y-intercept happens when x is 0, the x-intercept happens whenever y is 0. But we never plugged in a number to get 0 for y. But because we made our graph straight, we can just look at the line that we made. This line is to scale, it's straight, so we can just see when y is 0. And that happens right here. This has 0 for y, and it happens at -4 for x. That's our x-intercept. So if you make your graph nice and neat, then once you do your 3 points, you can use your line that you drew to find any point that you want. And I only put the ones that were like evenly in there, but you could do an infinite number. You can find anything on that line is going to be a good answer because you made that line good. And that's all that like a graphing calculator would do, is it would just do a good line for you, and then it would make the table for you. But you need to be able to do these things on your own because you can make a typo in a calculator. And if both of them match up, once you think about it on your own and you use a calculator eventually in high school, then I'm okay with that.